Hey guys, it's a beautiful day and we're looking at a bike that's got everyone excited. I actually had this shipped to my friend's shop because it was so big and they did such a good job. This is the Bunch Bike Coupe. Okay, so it's a little bit narrower than the original, which I covered recently, and it only has space for sort of two kids to sit side by side versus two here and two up front. But it's also lighter, 132 pounds versus 152, and some of that is because it's using this expanded polypropylene foam here and less steel. The whole front box is made from steel, whereas this rear portion is all aluminum alloy. It's a really cool bike. They've still got a little bit of wood going on, which adds some weight, and this wood here seems like it's laminated with plastic on the top, and maybe it's sort of a sandwich board going on down here. I don't know exactly what that would be called. Maybe not particle board, but just sort of laminated layers. Drainage, like foot positioning there, probably holds up better than the foam on the side, so kids can put their feet down. And this front cargo like wall, it drops down so you can load it easily. There's this optional rain cover. There's just a flat cover if you're using this more for cargo than kids. Maybe it doesn't rain where you're at, or they don't need to keep their hair looking nice. They can just go free in the wind. I mean, so many fun possibilities with this bike, but it does come at a price. It's significantly more expensive than the original that I looked at before. So this one is $59.99, just about $6,000 USD plus $199 shipping. That's significant. That's some money, and it really depends. If you're somewhere like Vancouver, or we're here in Canada, so they do ship to Canada. If you're in the United States, probably about 199 bucks, but maybe not for every geography, just because the box that they ship it in, the crate, really, it's like lumber. I mean, this thing is intense, and it comes ready to ride, so you're ready to go, but it's a bit of effort just unpacking the thing, and I do appreciate that they put so much care into that, because you're spending this kind of money, you want it to work, and there are some expensive, maybe semi-fragile components on this bike. So let's get into how this thing is set up. Again, compared to the original, it has larger front wheels. These are 24-inch versus 20, so they give you a lower attack angle, a little bit more air volume. That's going to give you some comfort. And you'll notice, actually, if you stand back here, the wheels are kind of angled in, which might help you corner and improve the stability. When you turn the bike, it actually kind of leans towards the direction that you're steering. So see, the captain's seat sort of tilts in, which is nice. It actually feels really fun to ride this thing, especially once you got some weight up front. Now, the top speed of this is set at 15.5 miles per hour, 25 kilometers per hour by default, and I think that's just fine. I did this thing good. I went all the way up to the top speed, and I was feeling it. You know, just the steering is a little bit different, and if you were going down a hill on this thing and cornering, you can kind of get it up on those two wheels. You want to be careful and thoughtful. Again, it's a heavy thing. You might have that precious cargo up front, so I just want to call that out. One of the cool things about a trike is that you can mount this thing very easily with this step-through design. And then you don't have to balance. Once you're on the bike, it pretty much balances itself. We've got these awesome hydraulic disc brakes, which do have these locking mechanisms. So right now, the bike is locked. It's not going to roll anywhere. And we're on a flat surface, so it's probably not going to roll a whole lot anyway, but it's nice that they went that extra mile. So they're going for comfort with those larger front wheels, but they still got that opening design with the front of that cargo bay. Easy to approach to get on the saddle for the captain. And then we've got a 26-inch wheel in the rear. So again, even larger, a little bit more comfort, more air volume. And this thing, these tires, they're all really nice. They're the Schwalbe Big Apple. In the rear, it's 26 by 2.15, and in the front, it's 24 by 2. So they're just a little bit wider, kind of a hybrid tire. I love that they both have reflective sidewall stripes. I love that they've got this puncture protection as well, because changing a flat tire on this bike would just be kind of a nightmare, in my opinion. I mean, this thing is using an electronically powered, automatic shifting, continuously variable transmission from Enviolo called the AUTOMATiQ. And of course, it's just bolted on like the rear. And it's kind of almost seems like a single speed here. You don't see like a derailleur or anything. The chain is at a fixed length, so they have this sliding horizontal dropout with this adjustment screw here to sort of position it in the right place, and that tension needs to be just right. And then we've got this chain glider, awesome, clean, quiet. It's going to protect my pant legs or dress ends as you're pedaling. So when it's set up and working right, it works great, okay? But if and when you let the air pressure on that rear tire get down too far, you get a pinch flat, or you ride over some glass or thorns, there's some extra effort with this bike. So I want to highlight that because back at the side I list out all the dimensions here, the width of this thing, the length, the tire pressure rating, and I do that so that you can kind of check this every once in a while before you're riding. I would squeeze the tire, make sure you keep the tire pressure up so you don't end up having to change the inner tube. It's kind of a bummer. But again, once it's set up, it's kind of set it and forget it, and that's going to make this efficient, okay? And before we get to the efficiency conversation, same thing up here. We got these kind of like through axles. There's no quick release. You've kind of got to take this cap off and use some tools and prop the bike up. And remember, it weighs 132 pounds. So I'm just trying to be proactive with these. Plus you got the fenders here and everything, which by the way are so nice. We've got a rear fender here, plastic with aluminum. It's kind of a laminate solution, very solid, very quiet, and it's going to protect you and your cargo. This rack back here with the Yep windows, it's rated up to 100 pounds. It's pretty amazing. You could put a child seat back here, so 2 kids up front or 1 medium-sized kid, and then a child in the rear. The seat belts are removable here, and maybe you just have 1, or if you have 2 kids, I think they're going to have a blast. But as they get larger, it might become pretty comfortable, and you might get that little kind of the sparring going on between the kids. So anyway, I was talking about efficiency before. We got hybrid tires, we've got an automatically shifting planetary electronic automatic hub thing in the rear. And what does this mean? Well, a CVT, unlike actual gears where you have steps, this is more of like a pivot. There are these orbs inside, and there's this traction fluid. It does this dynamically, okay? And there is a mechanical version of this hub where you actually twist something, but the electronic is so cool in part because it's automatic. Basically, you start pedaling on this thing, and it automatically tries to shift itself and get you to a set cadence. And then if you climb a hill, okay, it's going to kind of downshift to maintain your set cadence. So your pedal rate is going to remain the same, and really the work you're doing should feel pretty consistent as well. Now that's a big deal on a bike that's fairly heavy. When you're focused on kids, you might be distracted and stuff, because a lot of people who have these cargo bikes, sometimes the box bikes, maybe they have a throttle, which the original did. It was a hub motor. And with the throttle, you're just using that juice up much faster. With this one, you kind of have to pedal, okay? And it's got a really dynamic pedal rate, pedal torque, and then rear wheel speed sensor on this Bafang Max Drive. Now, the motor is rated at 250 watts nominal, but it's said to put out 80 Newton meters of torque, which is quite good. And so when you combined your pedal power plus an automatically shifting CVT plus that highly sensitive motor here, you end up with a much more efficient system that you don't even have to worry about shifting, and then you can focus on having fun with your kids and stuff. So to me, that is awesome. That is part of why this bike is priced the way it is. It's just so unique. There really aren't too many products on the market that offer a mid-drive and that automatic shifting and everything. So I just want to point that out. And you might be wondering, is this a belt drive? Because it kind of looks like it from the side, but no, it's an actual chain, which probably keeps it a little bit more affordable, and it means they didn't have to compromise the frame. Belt drives, a lot of times they have to like do a cut through so that the belt can wrap around the chainstay, but in this case with a chain, it's just going to be a little bit more serviceable. And I do really like that chain glider. It's from Hebi. They make good stuff. It's been really quiet, doesn't add a lot of friction or anything, and it just keeps the whole thing clean. And because there isn't a derailleur here, parking this thing, it's not going to get kicked out of place. I feel like this is just going to hold up really well and be fairly durable. Coming back down here to some of the hardware, 170mm crank arms. We got these kind of like aluminum alloy pedals, maybe a little bit of plastic with rubber traction, and that's good. They're big enough. Haven't really slipped off of these, and if you do slip, you're not going to cut your shin on like the really aggressive pedals I've seen on mountain bikes and stuff. We've got an Abish shield lock here, so there's a little kind of slide this thing down. You have to turn the key and you slide it down. It puts a rod through the spokes so people can't just ride the bike away. And because it is so large, people probably not going to be able to steal this thing. They're not going to go through the effort. But it's nice to have that, so you can just dash into the cafe and grab yourself a drink or whatever, and the bike is just secured, almost like a motorcycle. The downside of this is that, it's got its own keys, and then we have a second set of keys down here by the battery pack. And it'd be nice if they were sharing keys. And if you're someone who lives in a really cool or extremely hot environment, keep in mind that those high temperatures and low temperatures impact your battery effective range. Okay, so extreme heat, it actually degrades the cells over time. So if you're leaving this in a garage and it's really hot or something, you might take that battery off. It weighs about 9 pounds, so it's a heavier thing. Take it inside, charge it up with this awesome 4-amp charger. It weighs about 1.8 pounds. Really nice. It's got the wall side that comes unplugged and a proprietary plug interface down here. But yeah, if you're in a really cold environment and you don't always want to be taking that battery off and everything, you're going to need to be close enough to a wall outlet to reach the charging port down here. It's right there where the seatbelt interface is. There's this little rubber nipple thing pull up. And so you're gonna have to kind of wind the cord out. Maybe you won't have this canopy. Again, this is an optional accessory. But to me, that's worth thinking about, because you might end up with half the range one day on a cold day. You don't realize that the cold temperature just really lowers that effective range. So I love that they've got a high capacity battery pack. This is 36 volt, 20 amp hours, 720 watt hours. They do sell additional batteries for $600. That's nice. So it's a fairly modular part. This doesn't seem super proprietary. Some of the really fancy systems like Bosch, you can't just get like a third-party battery repacking company to fix the battery over time. Like, let's say Bunch Bikes goes out of business or something. You could probably repack this, or you can get one third-party. It's a little bit more generic in that sense, but the way it's integrated with the frame low and center, the weight is right where you want it. I think that's excellent. Coming back to the compromises of like, okay, you got 2 different keys, just don't lose those. So if you do need to take that off someday and charge it separately or replace it, you've got the keys to do so. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and unlock and remove the battery real quick. Just put the key in. You can take it out in the locked or unlocked position. Slide it this way, and then just kind of carefully tip it out. See the track on the bottom, charge level indicator, charging port, and then there's that on and off toggle button, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it works well, and you can see the cord going into the expanded polypropylene. There's where you could maybe remove the child seatbelt base buckle. Set it back in and slide it into place. There we go. While we're down here, I want to point out these rubber bumpers. And again, this is aluminum, but that's just going to keep it from denting and making a lot of noise when you steer. This does have a pretty tight turning radius, so I've had to do the 3-point turns frequently. You can see all the cabling and stuff coming out from here. And then there's this like gas shock, and that slows down your turning, which is really nice at higher speeds, or if no one's in the front, because it can feel a little, you know, this thing kind of wants to go, especially if there's like a divot. And I've noticed when I pedal sometimes, there's almost this feeling like the bike goes like this as you're pedaling, just because your leg weight is shifting the bike, and that's when this is empty. So I do like the gas shock was a really good idea. I've unlocked the brake now, so the bike's rolling around. I frequently will just like pick the back of the bike up and kind of reorient the front this way rather than do the 3-point turn. So that's a good tip. I do wish that there was some sort of bottle solution. You'll notice there are no bottle bosses anywhere on the frame. There are trunk bags if you weren't carrying like a child seat back here that have a little holster in the back. And then some people have used this like RoboCup cup holder thing that just clamps onto the handlebar, and then it puts a cup holder right there. I did speak with the founder about some of these trade-offs, asking him questions, really scrutinizing this bike because it's real expensive and it's kind of unique and special. Very nice guy, very open to feedback, like, yeah, you know, we've seen this is the solution our customers have found, and it's the RoboCup thing, but we're working on something in the future. He's very open-minded and supportive. He's got a family himself. I was really impressed with the original cargo bike that I looked at before, and I'm even more impressed with this. He told me a story about how his wife, you know, she tries the different bikes that he's working on and stuff, and she had the original and was like, yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with this. It makes sense. I've learned it. And then they developed this one, kind of in partnership. There's a company in the Netherlands that actually assembles and builds and helps design this bike. And when they finally got their samples, she tried it. She was like, I like this better. So I can see why. I mean, it's lighter. It handles really well. I think it just looks beautiful too. There aren't a lot of cables and stuff strewn about. Even this cockpit up here, it's very clean. A lot of these cables are run through the frame, which is not easy to do. And this handlebar adjusts up and down. So if you're a taller rider, you can raise the seat as well as those handlebars and get yourself a nice body position. It could feel a little crowded here depending on how long your legs are, but the higher the saddle is, the more straight your legs are gonna be. I think it's a great solution all the way around, and we've got this nice matching leather grip. You'll notice that it's on the top as well as the sides, so you can really, you know, maneuver this thing while you're riding. I appreciate that attention to detail. It's not locking, it can slip around a little bit, but you know, here we see the quick release here for the handlebar, quick release for the seat post. This is 27.2 millimeter, which is very standard, and they're using a shim, and they said that's because, you know, it does require a thinner, like a narrower seat post, but by using a shim, you get a really solid grab, and then it doesn't scratch this up as much. This is sort of like a machined Ergotech, really nice seat post that they've chosen, and the tubing on bicycles isn't always like as smooth and polished in that way. So I think you could actually fit a larger seat post on this if you wanted, but with 27.2, it's a very standard dimension, and you can get a suspension post, maybe even a dropper post if you wanted to. You can get pretty fancy there. And again, just a lot of options for raising that and getting yourself and your kids and everything comfortable. Back here at the rack, I already mentioned that it gives you a lot of weight capacity, but I like that they include a triple bungee. It looks really nice. We got some bungee loops down there. You could use some panniers on this in addition to a child seat, given how high capacity this is. 100 pounds, that's amazing to me. You rarely see this. And I say that because imagine you got your kids up here and their feet and everything, and the people are there, and then you got a child seat. There's a person. Well, where do you put your stuff? Like, where's the diaper bag, and where's your food, a picnic, and all the toys and stuff? Well, you could put those in panniers hanging down the sides. And again, that's because the rack is rated so highly. I really appreciate that. Another quick trade-off here compared to the original is that because this is all expanded polypropylene, I mean, it's light, and it's almost like the same thing that helmets are sort of made out of here. It's that like hard foam, and this is a little more plasticky feeling, so it just feels very durable, but the bench isn't like a storage compartment. On the original, you could lock stuff in there, and that was kind of cool. It's a little cubby hole or something, and now, nope, you don't get that. So back to maybe putting some panniers or something on the bike, or do what I do and wear a backpack, or maybe just put a little rucksack up there at the front of the box. Strength-wise, the bike it's very sturdy. 12 gauge spokes here, 36 holes on the rims. So we've got like kind of a lot of spokes, and then they're thick, and that just gives this bike, it makes it extra sturdy. And then 3 wheels, you're spreading out the weight a little bit more. Stopping is important as well. We got these 3-finger hydraulic brake levers with those locking mechanisms. We don't need motor inhibitors because we have a dynamically sensing, sort of a torque multi-sensor motor, but we do have pretty good disc brake solution here, Tektro Ariga, and the rear is 160 millimeter, but they went larger in the front, 180 millimeter, dual piston calipers in all cases, and we've got a really nice splitter system. So when you pull the left brake lever, it stops both wheels simultaneously really smoothly, and you don't have to worry about like cable stretch and just kind of this like wear and stickiness that you can get with mechanical brakes. And that's what you see on a lot of the cheaper. These guys didn't sacrifice. You've got really, really good brakes all around, and the safety is also done really well. So I'm gonna boot the bike up here. We press the power button for just a second. The display comes to life. This is a Bafang system, just like the motor. And we've got a dedicated light button, so it's very simple. You just hold that for a couple seconds. We see the light icon right there. The rear light, this has 6 LEDs, and it's a bright day, you probably can't see it, but it lights up very well, and it's fairly visible from a lot of different angles. There's even a cut through right here, so as long as your pannier was fairly far forward, and we do have these bars that would keep it from sliding back and forth, and then that lock down there, I feel like this light's gonna be keeping you safe, and that's important. Again, when you're on something that's kind of large and maybe you're distracted by kids. And then we've got these 3 LED headlights that are built right into the frame. They point where you steer when you turn this thing. They're excellent. And again, with 3 of them, you can see those at many different angles. I feel like that's awesome. And that was, again, internally routed. It's kind of a proprietary solution, very bright. And then this nice big reflective stripe that's built right into that optional cover. And we have the optional cargo bay as well. Here's a closer look at the child seat. So you got the 2 straps that go over the arm, and then there's the red buckle here, and these kind of connect together. So, you know, with 2 hands, I think you can put a child into this and that they'd be feeling pretty comfortable. So we're back up here. I turned it off, so press the power button for a second. Comes to life. I love that they've got a 10-bar battery infographic, so it's a little bit more precise than 5 bars. It could leave you guessing. There isn't like a dynamic range estimate on this, but you know, this is better than average. Speed, it's in miles per hour, but we could change that later. We've got trip distance down here, 3.6 miles. If I press I, it kind of cycles through, so total distance, that's like your odometer. Max speed, 20.6 miles per hour, which you're like, well, how is that possible? I thought you said 15.5 was the top speed, and I'll show you. We can unlock that. And then there's average speed, 7.3, and then it just cycles back trip meter. Now we're in assist level 1, so this thing is hot. By default, you could hop on it and it's gonna start going. I also wanna point out that this display is backlit, but it's so bright you can't really tell. It's sort of a bluish glow. So if you wanted, you could take this down to no pedal assist. You could turn on the lights, and then you'd just be pedaling, getting some good exercise. The shifting and everything would still work because it's powered on, and you'd have the lights for safety. So nice to see that. And then of course, 5 levels of assist. So that's the basics. That's what most people are going to interact with. If you want to get fancy, you can double tap the I, and now we can go through this menu. So trip clear, we've got miles per hour versus kilometers per hour, and we just press the plus or minus to change. So we're in kilometers per hour now. I'm going to bring it back to miles. And then I think this is like backlighting, brightness, and levels of assist. And then we got password. So they do have a password for this. I've listed it back on the website, and you can basically unlock the top speed a little bit if you want to. I personally would not do this for myself. 15.5 was plenty fast for me. And when you're done with that, you just double tap the I again and you're ready to ride. So we can hop on this thing. And oh, before we do, I want to also highlight and compliment, they've used a nice saddle. Not only does it look nice and kind of matches, but it's really comfortable. And the fact that this thing comes in multiple colors, like the black is really professional and it ties in with the EPP foam. But having white or having these other fun colors is really special, and it makes this thing a little bit more unique and colorful. It's, yeah, again, it's kind of a family, kids sort of thing, or pets. I just feel like it's such a happy bike, and everyone has really enjoyed riding this thing. The folks over at Dost received this for me because they have a big, you know, loading dock, and before I even got to check it out, they were like riding around having fun in the parking lot. And I really just think that that speaks to just the personality, and this calls you, it draws you in. You know, you got to hop on this thing, and it really does perform. Like, there's nothing on this bike that's screaming out to me as like a real concern. I feel like it's going to be durable, it's going to be fun, and I think this cover is pretty neat. I wanted to go through some of the features. So there's this zipper piece here, you can zip it up and then you can pass through, which is nice, hand things to people, or maybe just see them a little bit more clearly. But I guess it's kind of cool as like a bug net or something like that. And then on top, of course, we got the windows, the top and sides. I like how it unzips like this. And so people can just get in and out very easily. And again, this piece here sort of folding down. These buckles on top allow you to kind of roll up that front window and then fasten it right here with the buckles. So that's cool. So people kind of have that open air experience if it's really nice. And then later, if it starts to rain, you got that cover at the ready. With that said, I think I'm gonna hop on this thing. But before I do, I want to point out that the turning radius is not super tight on this. You know, I'm doing the like 3-point turn thing. In this case, we have enough space, but I noticed back at the house, I was having to do a lot of this, right? A lot of those extra steps. And then once you get on, it feels pretty stable. I'm here, I'm riding with no hands, and it's kind of tracking straight, which is nice. There we go. Getting it straightened out. I'm gonna go off-road up there for a second. I got a buddy here who's gonna take the camera and try to get some of these shots here. Thank you so much, man.
Of course.
So here we go. We just start pedaling. Yeah. Climbing, yeah, no problem. Got those headlights. There we go. You know, it's interesting. I'm about 5'9", and you can see where my knees come up here. there's a good amount of space. I could raise the seat a little bit more if I was taller, and I could raise the handlebar to come up towards me, but you can see the space starts to get tighter and tighter. This is it's like an upright riding position. And in that way, it's fairly relaxed, unless you're doing like a really steep turn, your arms sort of go way off to the side. So maybe that's why they have this longer grip. I don't really know. This is sort of what you'd expect to be doing, and it feels pretty good, right? There's enough clearance here for my feet. I can easily get off because it's a step through. You don't have to swing your leg over and kick your child's seat in the rear or whatever. It's a pretty good design. You know, they have to do these universal designs in order to hit that low $6,000 price point. You know, it's a fairly specialized thing, but if you've got 2 kids or maybe 3, there just aren't that many options out there, and I think this is one of the better ones. And we're off. No shifting or anything, just pedaling. About 16.5, and it's a little, that's as fast as I want to go. I think that's it. Wow. Woo. Nice and smooth with the hydraulic brakes. Like, it feels stable enough. If I really try to turn, I can kind of get it up on 2 wheels. Oh, there we go. You know, but I'd say it's still fairly stable. I mean, any of these tadpole trikes where you got 2 wheels in the front, that's the case. You can kind of get it up on 2 wheels a little bit like that. Delta trikes, on the other hand, you have 2 wheels in the back, and they can kind of tip forward. That's just how it is with, you know, 3-wheel design like this. Okay, guys, time to try out the box. We got one big kid right here. I hope there's enough room. You can see that this thing is connected just by little bungees on the front. Kind of roll it up if we want to. No time for that. So I undid that latch and it folds down, and I love that they got these plastic feet on it because this is steel, so I don't want that to rust. There's the charging port, right, by this EPP foam. At least they have a charging port there because the charging port on the battery is really not exposed up front. So anyway, enough said. Kind of get myself situated up here. There we go. Oh. There we go. Look at that. That's great. I'm ready. Oh my gosh. Okay. Fingers are safe, not gonna get pinched. Thanks for your help, buddy. Gotta recruit my friends. He's getting dangerously close to this ravine over here. It actually feels pretty comfortable, even on this like rocky gravel terrain. I think just the width of these tires and spreading it out over 2 tires. Oh, nice job. It's also really quiet. Okay guys, you are connected to that 27.2 millimeter seat post. Down here, we've got a 38 tooth steel chain ring. We've got our chain, and it goes back to a 17 tooth sprocket in the rear. And then this nice chain glider. It's really quiet and everything, but from here you can see the motor, and you should be able to hear it responding as I pedal. I'm gonna use the highest level of assist, and then the great thing is, because this is measuring pedal torque as well as pedal cadence and rear wheel speed, that torque signal, it's really dynamic. It feels natural. It's not just like on or off. Even with the highest level of assist, if I press gently, the motor's not gonna overcompensate, and I really like that. So I'm gonna start kind of gently, and then I might go a little more powerful as we ride along. And you can see it does spin for a second. It's not like immediate cutoff, but it's still pretty responsive. It feels safe and reliable in that sense. So here we go. Very gentle, and then very good. test. Yeah, I slammed on the brakes and we stopped pretty quickly. But you're moving okay, right?
No problem at all.
You gotta have, I mean, I'm like 135 pounds. You're something, or what are we, like 300 pounds combined? We're getting some interesting looks from the folks on the benches around you. What a way to travel, man. Why have I been driving to work this whole time? I think we need to team up.
I will say, for the 250 watt motor that it has, the torque is really nice. I can barely feel the weight.
Really?
And it's a really comfortable sitting position.
And it's a mid-drive. I mean, that's the thing. We're getting the mechanical advantage and that auto shifting, even with like the traction fluid and the added weight of that. The bike's fun to ride. You know, I feel like this is maybe not the primary use case. Most of the time it's going to be a parent with some kids or something like that. And I love that you can look down at your kids. You can't face them the way that you can with some of the other, like the original from Bunch Bikes, where you can seat the kids like 2 over here and then 2 in the other side. But this is still nice. Kids can turn around, see their parents, and then get this nice view and, you know, just look around. These guys, it's an electric trike. It's the coupe. There we go. You gonna hop in?
All right.
There we go.
I feel very comfortable too.
You feel good?
I feel very comfortable. It's really nice.
You got room up there and everything. Yeah. This is cool.
This is great.
Okay, here we go. Starting off. Wow, yeah. It really, it was in like a kind of a low gear automatically with that Enviolo. I was expecting to have to really push with my knees, but I didn't. Feels very pleasant. We're getting a lot of friendly, and it does feel smoother. Yeah, I see how it's not like swaying back and forth as much right now. There we go. Sam's life is in jeopardy here. How you doing, buddy?
It's great. I love it. Look at all the views.
Look at this. This is fantastic. We just need to remember to look where we're going.
Absolutely.
We try to come on these low traffic. This is sweet. It's your turn to film.
Okay.
Yeah, I love how those people we met were like, yeah, you can use the video, but not in the public domain. I was like, what are we gonna do? You're gonna be on Electric Bike Review, guys. Yeah, this is fun. I'm gonna do a little steering. Oh yeah. Oh, let's see. I don't think we can tip it.
Whoa!
Are you okay?
Whoa! Okay.
This is like tons of fun for me.
Whoa!
Oh my gosh. So it does, it feels like it jerks the box person around a little bit. You're feeling those turns a lot, huh,
I surely am.
Okay.
But this is a lot of fun. I love it. Look at this.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. Do you have any other closing insights from our little time together?
You know, this is an amazing tool to go grocery shopping or carry your kids around, or even an adult. I love the fact that it has this gate. The gate really allows for easy entry and exit. And also, if you want to carry groceries or any large items, you can easily, you know, do that. And yeah, by the way, these
Got the lock, you pull it in real.
yeah, the handbrakes are awesome.
It's not going anywhere. Well guys, I think that's about it. Made a bunch of new friends here today looking at this bike. A lot of families walk on this trail and the kids are like, whoa, cool. And the parents like, that's nice, you know. And I hope that this finds you well and that you and your family are just having fun getting outside. This is a wonderful way to spend some time together. Again, I put all the details back at the website to try to help you understand and then maintain this bike, because it is sort of unique, and there's a community there too. I got some forums and the comments are designed to be very open. I'll try to respond here too, but that way you can keep it running and really enjoy this thing. I love you guys. Ride safe, and we'll see you next time.